Hello. Have you ever needed a better way to track your beer you're producing and selling? Maybe right now you just keep it all in your head or you have it on a piece of scratch paper. If you really needed to, you could try to dig into your ERP system and try to find what the different trends and transactions have been, but usually that's not very successful. And a lot of the reports they have available aren't really good for doing any type of analytics. What I want to do is show you a Tableau dashboard that would help you uh, keep your finger on the pulse of all of your different finished beer transactions. So each time you brewed a beer or anytime you sold it, and it's going to show us what different trends are by week. We'll also be able to break it down into kegs and cans, see what we're producing for each individual beer, and see if we've been adding inventory of that beer or if we've been subtracting. We'll get totals for a specific time period, but also see trends over time to see if anything stands out recently that's unusual compared to our previous history. All right, so here's our Tableau dashboard. I'll help you understand what you're looking at here. First of all, in the kind of upper left area, well, even above that table, is we have a few different filters we can use. So if we wanted to just see kegs or cans, we could filter on that. I'm going to leave it open for everything right now. And then we can pick a starting date of to show us the information we want to see. In this case, I'm just going to have it show all of 23, but we could open it up to be a larger date range or even shrink it down if we wanted. Okay, so first of all, below that, we're going to look at some of the totals for what we've either produced, sold, and then what the difference between those two has been. So have we produced more beer than we sold? This would be a positive number, which these are. If we had produced less than we sold, these would be a negative number. And then we're breaking it down by kegs and cans. And in this case, I've taken everything to a dollar amount. Just then kegs and cans relate a little bit better to each other. But we could also show this in quantity if that was more interesting. Okay, so next up, we're going to plot each week of transactions, and we're going to have like a 0 line posted on this graph. And then anytime we produced beer, it's going to show up here in the green area. Anytime we sold beer, it's going to show in this red area. So we can see what some of the different transactions look by, sorry, this is by month actually. So we can see we have some lower volume months in like January and February of last year. We have some higher volume months, maybe when we get into the summertime. And then if we were to hover over any of these, so let's pick, this would be July of 22. This looks like the largest month of beer that we sold. We could hover over these bars and you'll see some of the words change. So we can see what beers we sold the most of in that period. And then if we kept going up, we could see which beers we produced during that period. So just a quick snapshot of our highest or lowest volume months, and were we selling more or producing more than we sold. So that would be the cans. And then down here, we're looking at kegs. In this case, kegs are a little bit flatter throughout the year as compared to cans. Okay, so let's go down a little bit further. Now we're going to start to break it down into each individual beer so we can highlight those a little bit more. I think in a lot of cases when we're looking at beer, it's important to differentiate between like our flagships, and these are the ones that we produce all the time, we distribute. People know they can always get them when they're looking for them, or some of our seasonal beers, which are more one-off type beers or something fun to do, but we don't always have it on tap or we don't always have it in cans. So that's what we're doing here. We're just separating flagships by seasonal. And then we have our different types of beer. And what we're showing on this graph is we produced beer. That's going to be the lighter gray bar. So here's an example of beer we produced. And then the consumed beer is going to be the darker gray or almost black line. And in this case, we're looking at each week since January 1st of 23. So we're able just to see what some of the trends look like as we compare each other. Fruit beer this time of year is not very exciting. This one, probably if we looked at the summer period, we'd see a lot more volume. So let's maybe go down a few. We could see pale ale. We have a few more where we brewed a fair amount of it. We also had a week that we sold a lot. This West Coast IPA, for example, we brewed a lot of it right at the very beginning of the year. And then the sales have been pretty steady. We've brewed more since then, but we've also been working off some of that inventory because we brewed so much of it to start the year. And then you'll see some of our seasonal ones are pretty spotty, right? We brew it once, then we sell it for a month or so, and then we'll brew it again and sell it. So not as much of the steady brewing as we see with some of our flagships. Okay, and then finally what we're doing over here is we're summarizing some of that information. And we're looking at, did we increase or decrease inventory during that period based on what our transactions are? We're plotting that on this chart. If it has a red line, that means we decreased inventory. So in this case, what we're looking at is we sold more than we produced. So this has a red line, meaning we burned some inventory, about $1,000 of inventory for this one. On the other hand, let's look at like hazy IPA seasonal. So in this case, it's going to show that we sold about $5,000. We produced about $7,000. So we had a net adjustment to inventory of about $2,000 during this period. So I think this is a good way, just with a quick snapshot, to see what are you producing and selling a lot of. So in this case, hazy IPA A has by far the most volume. And then we have several kind of clustered in this area. And we had some that we've sold a little bit more than we produced, especially in some of our flagships. Maybe we came into the year where we had a little bit of inventory, so we had to sell some off and not produce quite as much. And then on the other hand, we have some of these seasonal ones where we've produced more than we've sold, so we've added some inventory to these. So I think this is a good way to take a lot of the data out of your ERP system or something that you were maybe tracking by hand and put it in a simple dashboard here. And we're able to get some good insights. We can see overall volumes. We can look at how things have trended over time with what we've produced and sold, and then get down to each individual item and really see what some of those characteristics are with the different transaction trends, and see what we're producing a lot of, what we're selling a lot of, and if we're adding inventory or subtracting inventory. Okay, so that was our dashboard. A few of the questions we could answer based off of that is, see what our recent volume of beer produced and sold to look like. Has things been following the normal trend, or were there any outliers that we should think about a little bit more? We might be able to see, have we burned off too much inventory, and do we really need to get brewing because we've maybe sold a lot more than we've produced of a certain beer. And then we can see how our total volume has broken down by kegs and by cans. So I hope that was an interesting look at a dashboard that summarizes a lot of your different transactions. If you have any questions on this, or if you'd like to see some of your information plugged into a dashboard like this, we can certainly make that happen. Please contact me. My email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. And that email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.